guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're learning to slide up the span set into the skirt position. This is a great transition to the top of the hoop, and it's also a beautiful move on its own. It's also fairly simple, so even if you are still working on your inversions and your strength for mounts, you're going to be able to do this move. But first, a quick reminder to please subscribe to my channel. I have lots of other aerial videos and tutorials over there, and I will be having some more tutorials with moves that start with this move. So if you want to add on something to the end of this move, stay tuned, check it out, and subscribe. Here are your pro tips to keep in mind for this one. My first pro tip is to keep your hands nice and high and close to your hips. If you open up your hands and let them get lower on the hoop, it's going to be much harder to transition into that top bar position. My second pro tip is to make sure to arch your back. It is tempting to look up at your legs or the top of the hoop, but that's going to give you a concave and not very pretty look to your back. So make sure that you are arching or even looking towards the ground. And finally, make sure to keep your knees below the level of your hips. This will hold you nice and secure onto the hoop. It's a similar concept to the knee hang where you keep your feet below your knees, or an elbow hang where you keep your hand below your elbow. If your knees are lower than your hips, you will be nice and steady and secure. All right, keep those in mind as we break it down. Start sitting in the hoop and place your hands on the top of the hoop about hip width apart. Next, lean your shoulders away from the hoop as you lift one leg up to wrap your foot around the opposite side of the span set. So you're reaching around the span set with your foot and hooking onto it. You do need to sickle your foot for this. I know I can hear the ballet teachers screaming at me as well, but your sickled foot will actually hold you on for this one, so it is important. After you've sickled your foot onto the span set, bring your other leg up and wrap it around the front of that foot. This gives you a little lock that will hold your feet onto the span set as you pull with your arms, lift your hips up, and come into a vertical position. I like to think about this as kind of like a handstand, but you're not using your arms, obviously. Try to get your hips as close to the span set as you can. When you're ready, pull up with your arms, throw your legs down, and put the top of the hoop in your hip crease, so that place right where your thigh meets your pelvis. You can also push off the top of the span set a little bit with your feet if that's going to help you get your legs down. Once you're in this position, you can let go with your arms. You can do some pretty things like pushing the hoop away from you or doing some arm movements. You've got a lot of options because you're basically just resting on your hip creases. To come out of it, replace your hands right where they were. Lift up your legs, and you have a couple of options here. One option is to slide one foot down the span set to control your descent as you come back to sitting in the hoop. Another option is to bring both feet down at the same time and use your abs to control your descent. You will need some ab strength for this one, but it's also a great exercise. As you come down, you are sitting back with your hips like you're sitting with a chair, and you're almost doing a pull-up with your arms. You really do need to pull with those arms. However, if you don't quite make it, or if you miss the bottom of the hoop, it is totally fine. Nothing terrible is going to happen. You're just going to end up hanging by your hands in front of the hoop. If your flexibility doesn't quite allow you to reach all the way up to the span set with your leg, you can also do this option where you lift your hips by pulling up with your arms and do a little mini invert as you reach for the span set with your leg. You don't need as much flexibility for this version, but you do need to be a little bit stronger. You can add in the more traditional skirt position by bending one leg and hooking it around the span set, then crossing your other leg over it. This is really pretty in itself, and it's another little variation you can add to this move. Remember to use your muscles to push your legs towards the ground the whole time you're in this position. That's going to really secure you on the top of the hoop. Here's the whole thing in real time so you can see how it looks. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed learning this little sequence with me. There's a lot of different moves that this is a transition into, and we'll be going into them in some of my next tutorials, so stay tuned for that. Remember to check out my page and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.